Beneath the streets of Rome, the Capuchin crypt stands as a haunting testament to mortality. The skeletal remains of thousands of monks are arranged in intricate patterns, their bones forming elaborate chandeliers, decorative arches, and sacred symbols. This macabre yet artistic display, captured around 1900, is a chilling yet reverent meditation on the fleeting nature of life. A mischievous yet unsettling tradition, this photograph from around 1900 captures a child sitting cozily with Krampus, the horned and menacing Christmas figure from Alpine folklore. With his eerie grin and looming presence, Krampus reminds children that bad behavior comes with dire consequences, a stark contrast to the jolly image of Santa Claus. An uninvited visitor lingers over a sleeping child in this eerie 1860 photograph. Shadows dance across the room as a mysterious figure looms near the bed, evoking a sense of quiet dread. Whether a ghostly presence or an unsettling piece of staged photography, this moment captures the deep-rooted human fear of what lurks in the night. Lionel, the lion-faced boy, born with hypertrichosis, stares confidently into the camera at the peak of his career in 1907. His thick, flowing facial hair gave him a striking resemblance to a lion, making him one of the most famous sideshow performers of his era. A man of gentle nature, his extraordinary appearance fascinated audiences worldwide. Silent film icon Lon Chaney, known for his masterful transformations, dons the face of a strangely friendly yet unsettling clown in the 1924 MGM film He Who Gets Slapped. The exaggerated smile and sorrowful eyes reflect the tragic themes of the film, where laughter often masks deep pain. A grotesque spectacle unfolds in a 1945 Coney Island sideshow. A woman, appearing headless, sits calmly in a chair as spectators gaze in disbelief. Through a clever combination of illusion and stagecraft, she becomes a living embodiment of the bizarre entertainment that once defined the carnival scene. A chilling crime scene photograph from November 11, 1974, captures the house that would inspire the Amityville Horror. On that fateful night, Ronald DeFeo Jr. brutally murdered his family, later claiming voices in the house drove him to do it. The haunting legend of the Amityville house continues to send shivers down spines to this day. A long dining table, set for 14, seems ordinary at first glance. However, the eerie atmosphere of this 1946 photograph suggests an ominous undercurrent. Were the guests unsuspecting victims? Or does this image simply capture an unsettlingly quiet moment before a sinister event? On the morning of July 15, 1952, residents of Salem, Massachusetts witnessed an unexplained phenomenon: 4 glowing orbs floating in the sky. This eerie photograph captures the sighting, one of many that fueled the growing wave of UFO hysteria during the 1950s. Eva C., a renowned spiritual medium, appears to conjure a luminous apparition in this photograph from May 17, 1912. The eerie glow and ghostly figure suggest supernatural forces at work, but skeptics argue it was merely an elaborate hoax. The debate between believers and doubters continues to this day. Captured in the 1920s, this photograph of a wake appears to contain more than just grieving relatives. A ghostly figure hovers in the background, a chilling reminder of the thin veil between life and death. Whether real or an illusion of light, this haunting image leaves an unsettling impression. A traveling salesman proudly displays his collection of glass eyes in this circa 1900 photograph. Rows of lifelike prosthetic eyes peer blankly forward, creating an uncanny and unsettling scene. For those in need, these artificial eyes offered a sense of normalcy. But seen together, they resemble something from a nightmare. Inside a toy factory around 1900, doll heads drip with fresh paint, their vacant eyes staring blankly. Rows of eerie, unfinished faces line the workspace, creating a scene more fit for a horror film than a child's plaything. A woman in 1865 appears stiff and unnatural, her face painted and hair styled to perfection. The eerie nature of this photograph suggests an unsettling reality. She may have been posthumously styled to resemble a doll, a bizarre and macabre practice of the time. Vaudeville entertainers carefully unpack their dummy friend in this 1925 photograph. Whether a ventriloquist's prop or something more sinister, the lifeless form within the case gives the unsettling illusion of a real person being transported in eerie stillness. A patient undergoes an experimental electrical stimulation procedure in 1856. With wires attached to his head, he remains still as doctors observe his reactions. The early days of neurology often balanced between groundbreaking and terrifying, as science pushed the limits of understanding the human brain. A mortician stares into the distance in this somber 1910 photograph. His weary eyes reflect a life spent in the presence of the dead. The weight of his profession seems to haunt him, as though the spirits of those he's cared for linger in the shadows. A farmer's inventive yet disturbing scarecrow stands in his field in 1937. Using a real human skeleton, he ensures that crows, and perhaps passers-by, keep their distance. This macabre method of pest control transforms the farmland into something eerily otherworldly. A spectral figure, cloaked in white, stands beside a deceased loved one in this 1863 image. Whether an artistic statement or a ghostly manifestation, the scene evokes the notion of the angel of death visiting those on their journey beyond. A seemingly ordinary gathering from 1910 captures a group sitting in casual company. Yet, the unnatural stillness of their expressions and the peculiar positioning of their hands suggest something just a bit off. In the aftermath of the atomic blast in 1945, Hiroshima bore silent, haunting marks of devastation. This photograph captures the eerie imprint of a person, vaporized by the explosion, etched onto a building's wall, a lasting shadow of unimaginable destruction. Katharina Detzel, an asylum inmate, crafted a life-sized straw man in 1910. With hauntingly human features and carefully stitched details, her creation served as a chilling reflection of her isolation, longing, and ingenuity. In the 1920s, Paris, the hellish café offered guests a taste of the macabre. With grotesque decor and performers dressed as demons, it provided an eerie and theatrical experience unlike any other, blending Parisian nightlife with Gothic horror. Myrtle Corbin, the four-legged woman, became a medical curiosity and sideshow star in the late 19th century. Born with a rare condition known as dipygus, she captivated audiences with her unique anatomy, defying societal norms and carving out a place in history. A group of clowns from 1910 leers at the camera, their painted faces frozen in unsettling grins. What was meant as joyful entertainment has since evolved into the embodiment of many people's deepest fears. A ghostly hand reaches toward the séance table, its pale fingers barely visible in the dim candlelight. The eerie photograph captures a chilling moment of supernatural intrigue. Was it a trick of the light, or did the spirits truly make their presence known? In 1922, a séance unfolds as a medium, surrounded by expectant participants, attempts to bridge the gap between the living and the dead. The photograph captures the moment when the veil seems at its thinnest, the air heavy with mystery and anticipation. British Army officer Horatio Gordon Robley stands beside his macabre collection of preserved Maori heads in 1895. A blend of fascination and horror, his assortment of mummified remains taken from indigenous warriors reflects a grim period of colonial exploitation and morbid curiosity. Inside a butcher's shop in 1937, freshly slaughtered meat dangles from hooks, its rawness both a testament to necessity and an unsettling sight. The eerie arrangement of carcasses and the blood-stained floor make for a chillingly stark image of life and death. In 1964, engineers gather around a mechanical caveman, fine-tuning the eerie animatronic figure at Disneyland. His lifeless stare and awkward movements, meant to bring history to life, instead create an unsettling glimpse into the uncanny valley. A soldier suffering from shell shock in 1916 gazes into the distance, his expression frozen in a mix of confusion and terror. The horrors of World War I left many in a state of psychological paralysis, a condition barely understood at the time, yet visible in every haunted stare. A grieving mother sits with her deceased infant in this heartbreaking 1901 post-mortem photograph. In an era where child mortality was tragically common, such portraits served as the only lasting memory of lost loved ones, a final embrace captured forever. Rows of iron lungs fill a hospital ward in California, 1953, their rhythmic hissing the only sound in the room. Used to keep polio-stricken patients alive, these machines were both life-saving and eerie, metal cocoons housing those trapped between survival and stillness. Two men carefully mold a death mask in 1908, pressing plaster onto the face of the recently deceased. The haunting process, once common, preserved the features of the departed long after their souls had left this world. A group of World War I soldiers receives urgent medical attention in 1916. Bloodied and dazed, their bodies bear the scars of battle, yet their camaraderie remains unbroken in the face of war's horrors. In 1921, Russian peasants stand beside the gruesome remains of cannibalized bodies, a grim consequence of a devastating famine. Starvation had driven many to unthinkable acts, and this harrowing photograph captures the sheer desperation that gripped the land. A solemn statue stands in Paris's Père Lachaise cemetery in 1964, surrounded by the silent resting places of the city's dead. The weathered stone figure, its expression frozen in sorrow, seems to watch over the graves, a guardian of memories and loss. A small child recoils in terror as a massive bear looms behind him, its mouth slightly open in what could be curiosity or hunger. The moment, frozen in time, captures the sheer contrast between innocence and the wild, a chilling encounter between human and beast. A woman appears to crawl off a couch, her limbs contorted in an unnatural pose. The surreal nature of the photograph, whether staged or accidental, leaves an unsettling impression. Her movement seems both human and disturbingly otherworldly. A man stands beside a figure wearing an unsettling mask. The expressionless face and hollow eyes give the impression of something inhuman, as though a living person were trapped behind a lifeless facade. The photograph, frozen in time, leaves an eerie sense of unease, lingering long after the image fades from view. We've journeyed through a collection of rare and eerie moments in history, each image telling a story that lingers in the mind long after the frame has faded. From ghostly apparitions to unsettling spectacles, these photographs offer a glimpse into the strange and sometimes terrifying corners of the past. What did you find most haunting? Which image captivated you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into history's rare moments, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more. If there's a particular topic you'd love for us to cover, drop your suggestions below. We're always eager to uncover more forgotten stories from history. Thanks for watching. And until next time, keep exploring the past, because history is full of surprises.